right, what's going on, everybody? My name is Hunter Thomas Mounce. This is episode 13 of the Folks Like Us podcast. Today, I got my buddy Matt Jordan with us, and he is originally from the St. Louis, Missouri area. He's a singer-songwriter. On this episode, we're going to talk a little bit about his career, kind of what he's got going on, and maybe a little bit about how me and Matt originally met. So, with that, guys, welcome to episode 12. Matt, say what's up to him.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for having me, dude. Glad to
bud.
be here.
Man, I'm glad to have you here as well. I've been trying to make this happen for a long time at this point. I'm glad it finally worked out. You were in town for what reason? Tell them.
Yeah, I just had a couple co-writes scheduled and recording some new songs, and on my way out of town today. And I'm glad we could make it work today.
Yeah, it all worked out, man.
Yeah.
So you said you're recording some songs today.
Yeah.
You've been recording a lot of music lately, haven't you?
A lot of new music this year. Yeah. I just finished up production on my first full-length album that'll be out this fall, and we are already moving on to the next chapter and starting to record some stuff for that. So a lot of new music coming still this year and into 23. Looking forward to it.
Heck yeah. Whenever you say fall for the album, are you thinking like September, October?
October time frame.
October,
yep.
Cool.
Which, as of right now, it's not been announced. By the time this gets out there, it will have been. So October 28th.
Okay.
First full-length album's coming out.
Hell yeah. Maybe whenever some kids go trick-or-treating in St. Louis, we'll get some Matt Jordan albums.
Pass out CDs.
Yeah, dude.
Or vinyls or something. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, man. That's great. So, where exactly are you from? It's not
So
St.
I grew
Louis
up
area,
in Eureka, Missouri, which is
Yep.
about 40 minutes west of downtown St. Louis. It's like the last kind of suburb. It's a small town, but it's not like, it's not in the middle of nowhere, kind of the last suburb on the west side of the St. Louis suburbs. Then it gets into, kind of the country after that. So yeah, I grew up in Eureka. We moved into a little bit more suburban St. Louis when I was about 13 or 14, and ended up doing college in Indianapolis, moved down here, and I'm back home now in the St. Louis area with my family. And it's good to be home.
Heck yeah. So, college in Indianapolis, was that for music or was that just general studies?
No, so I just studied. I went to Indianapolis. My dad's family's all from Indiana. My brother was at Butler in Indy, and he and I are best friends, and so I just kind of followed him to college and studied business. And then that was really when I kind of started writing songs and getting halfway decent at it. I was not very good yet, but I thought I was good enough to move to Nashville. So halfway through college, I moved to Nashville. Learned very quickly that I had no business being here.
Yeah.
But it got me here, and I really got to kind of work on my craft at that point, and I'm glad I made the move.
Well, I guarantee you had business being here. What can you kind of tell us briefly what your experience was like in Nashville and what years you lived here?
Yeah, so I got here in 2012, I think it was, and I lived here till about 2015. And I it was really good. I'm really glad I lived in Nashville for a bit. If I was going back and doing it over, I would have done a lot of things different. Like I don't think I allowed myself to be fully immersed in like the culture that makes Nashville so special. And I think a lot of that came from a lack of confidence of what I was doing. I thought I was like really great because there wasn't a whole lot happening at Butler. I was like kind of one of the only guys that wrote and played songs in Indianapolis that I knew of. And so I thought like, oh, Nashville will be easy. And I think a lot of people think that coming here, and then you get here and it's like, wow, the talent level is just different, and you don't know that as a 19-year-old kid when you're moving. And so I got here and saw how good everyone was. And I think I just kind of holed up a little bit and realized like, man, I thought I was going to come here and like be having publishing meetings, and I need to like learn to write songs for real and take voice lessons and all that kind of stuff. So my time here was a lot more like developing my craft than it was navigating the industry, which I needed to do, but I wish I had immersed myself in it a little bit more,
Yeah. I know what you mean by that, dude. I thought it was going to be way easier than it is. When I first moved here, I was like, man, it'll probably take me about 5 years. I'll be hitting it where I want to be, and then that whole 5-year thing is looking a lot more 20-ish right now here.
That's how it goes, man. And I think that, like, I don't know. I think it's a good thing to, like, it was humbling for me, which was really important. Like, I needed to know, like, hey, this isn't easy, and this industry is not easy for anybody. And I like, now that I've worked in it I've been doing this for like 9 years now or something, and now that I've been in it for so long, I like really appreciate the grind and like all the work that it's taken to go from this kid who had no business being in Nashville to some of the cool things I've gotten to do in the last year or so. I'm really grateful that it's taken some time because I like really appreciate the good shows we're getting to do and getting to release a full album and that kind of stuff, you know.
Isn't it funny how whenever you're younger, you look at all the things on the road ahead of you that are quote unquote in the way, and you're like, oh God, I gotta figure out how to do this, and I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that, and it's gonna be so much work, and I gotta do all this stuff if I want to be, you know, to my destination.
Yeah.
And then when you get older, like you just said, you start to appreciate every step of it, where it's like, hold on, man, I can actually learn to enjoy these steps that I have to take, and like look forward to the challenge of overcoming them and figuring out how to navigate all this.
Yeah, and
Isn't
I
it
think
funny?
it just makes I think it just makes you more grateful for everything. Like nothing related to my musical journey has like been handed to me. Like I've had to work to get on like good shows and had to like work really hard to become a decent writer. And I'm not where I want to be as a writer or a vocalist, but like it's taken a lot of work, and I think that it just makes you appreciate it more. And like when you can step back and kind of look at the progress you make over the years, it's like, man, I'm doing the thing that I moved here to do, you know. And I don't know, there's just some kind of appreciation for it that you know, if it was handed to you, or if there really was such thing as an overnight success, I don't think you'd appreciate it the way that, you know, the guys who go and grind it out appreciate it. You know, it's a cool thing. It takes age and wisdom to get to that place, I think, you know.
Yeah.
And we've both been doing it long enough to have gotten there, I think.
Well, and it's pretty cool for you because, you know, you're figuring all this stuff out now that you have moved back home, and you're starting to have success, you know, with you and your band playing these awesome shows, opening up for people after you move back home, which for a lot of people, the act of moving home is like, that marks the end of their journey, and they just feel like they can't do it anymore. But you have you figured out a way to make it work.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's unique.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I think that like that was my biggest fear leaving Nashville. And the reason I moved home was like I just got married. Both of our families were in St. Louis, and we were both having a hard time finding jobs in Nashville, and we both could find jobs in St. Louis with the people we knew. And so we moved home, and like that was my biggest fear. I wasn't ready to be done with music yet. And my fear was like, I don't know how to do this in St. Louis. And there were several years there where it was like, it was just an afterthought. You know, I was working in business, and that was taking a lot of my time. And I was just kind of, at that point, kind of writing just for fun. And it wasn't until like the last 2 years where I feel like I kind of found some dreaming partners in St. Louis who get it and are willing to work at it the way that I'm willing to work at it. And so I kind of went back in, and I was like, hey, maybe we can give this thing a shot. And the last 2 years have been, the last year really has been the most productive year in my music career, if that's what you want to call what I do. But yeah, it's been good to be back in St. Louis, and it's been hard in some ways, but I think on the whole it's actually been a good thing to kind of reset and not be immersed in the Nashville industry stuff. You know, for me, it's I think some of that is like there's not saturation in St. Louis and the surrounding areas. Like there's just not a lot of people doing this there, you know. And if you're willing to work at it, you can go find your own little market there, you know?
Yeah.
It's been good.
Oh, it's saturated here, dude.
Yeah.
If Nashville was a yard, you would sink in it every time you take a step, because that's how damn saturated it is.
It is, man. And like I think that's like, you know, I just didn't know what to do when I was here. And I think that was part of it. It was like, I want to go play shows, but like I don't even know how to go about doing that here, you know? And in St. Louis, it just feels a lot more manageable. And it's not, I mean, we're not just playing in St. Louis. Like we're playing in the surrounding cities and stuff, trying to do this thing in the Midwest, and it's just easier to navigate in my experience, you know, which it's been good.
That's good, man. Can you kind of talk a little bit more about, you said it a second ago, but how important is it to have other people, like-minded individuals with the same goals as you? How important is that to kind of breathe new life into something that you thought previously had been maybe over?
Yeah, I think for me at least, it's been really important, and I think it's probably true for any creative endeavor. Like all of the creative people I know, songwriters, filmmakers, whoever it is, like you go through these valleys and these mountaintops, and it's like creativity strikes, and you feel like you're just on top of the world, and then you fall in this valley and you dried up and you can't write a song or come up with an idea or book a show or whatever. And in my experience, it's been really important to have some of those dreaming partners to kind of pull me out of the valleys and be like, hey, man, we got to keep going. We can do this thing, And it's been super important for me. And that's kind of why I felt like I was just kind of stagnant there for a couple of years, was I didn't have anyone like that to really encourage me and push with me. And since I found those people in the last couple of years, when I go through those kind of low moments, and it happen a lot, there's moments of doubt, and it's like, dang, this thing's not going where I want it to go, or it's not moving as fast as I want it to move. It's important to have somebody to say, a couple people to say, no, man, we're good. Let's just keep pushing. This is how it goes. It's just part of the game. It's been really important.
Yeah, it's crazy because, the highs and lows, it's a different perspective whenever you're in those highs and lows than whenever you kind of look back on them. Because when you look back on them, you look at them, oh, that was a peak, that was a valley. But, like, sometimes the lowest of low is like, no, dude, it's game over. Like, I'm done doing music forever.
Yeah.
It can feel like that in a low. And then when you're on a high, it can feel like, dude, I'm for sure 100% going to make this happen. Like, it's with 100% certainty. Like, there's nothing in the world that can stop me.
Right.
And you kind of look back on that, and you're like, okay, you weren't really accurately perceiving that.
Yeah.
Just like you weren't also accurately perceiving, you're feeling really sorry for yourself that you're going through that dry period.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's a tough thing to do.
It's an emotional roller coaster, man.
Yeah.
And you're right, those valleys, man. Like, I don't know. 3 months ago, I was in one of those valleys, and I called my buddy Jarrett. He was like one of my go-to co-writers. And I was like, I don't know if I'm ever going to write another song again. I think it's over. He's like, come on, man. Like, it's not over. But it feels that way, dude. And then, and you're dead right. Like, the top of the mountain, you're like, man, we are just rolling here. Like, nobody can stop us. Yeah. And then you look back 2 months later, you're like, that was not as big a deal as I thought it was.
That wasn't that big of a deal. Yeah. You're talking about Jarrett Hartness, I'm guessing. Yeah. He's great. I don't know him that great personally, but
he's awesome, dude.
He's awesome.
He's been great. I write most of my songs with him at this point, and he's talked me off a ledge a lot of times. I'll just get in my head about something. I'll call him and be like, here's what I'm thinking. He's like, all right, slow down. Just chill out. You're fine. We're gonna keep rolling here.
Yeah.
It's important to have those people, dude. It really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
That's great. Is he hanging out with us next weekend? I thought he was.
It's me, you, Dukes, Dustin, and Jarrett. It's going to be a lot of fun.
That's going to be great, dude.
Yeah.
It's going to be my first experience ever really hanging out in St. Louis other than when I was younger. I used to go to Grant's Farm and feed the Clydesdales.
Oh, dude, I took my kids to Grant's Farm a couple weeks ago.
Really?
Yep. My son and I went and fed the goats.
Nice.
And they knocked him over right on his ass. It was pretty funny.
The goat not really?
They knocked him.
So y'all were
these little tiny baby goats, and they just jump up on you, and he's 3, so he yay high. And
so y'all were free penning. You weren't feeding him through the fence.
No, we went in, and it was. I mean, he thought it was hilarious. Like, they knocked him on the butt, and he just started cracking up, which was great. My daughter was like crying about it and stuff, but he thought it was hilarious. Yeah, it's a good place. St. Louis is a good town, man. It's good to be home. I like being in St. Louis a lot.
Heck yeah. So it sounds like your boy is kind of like typical boy, likes to be rough, get in the mud,
he is all boy.
Just
dude.
roll with it.
He's fearless to a dangerous level. I think he has raised his mom's blood pressure significantly since he came around. He's sweet as can be. Like, he's my middle kid. I have 3, and my daughter's oldest. He's in the middle, and we have a baby boy too. My 3-year-old boy is just like, he is the ultimate defender and protector of his sister, which is really awesome. Like, they go to a park and someone's like kind of not being nice to her, and he just comes in and starts stomping around like a dinosaur, just scaring him. He's like, you don't talk to my sister that way. It's great.
Nice.
He's all boy.
That's great.
But he's making us a little gray for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
And your daughter's more like kind of shy.
She's a timid one. She's sweet as can be.
Yeah.
She's an angel of a baby. Like, she's so easy, but she's more reserved, and she's getting braver. We're like really working on that, but she's scared of more stuff than JR is.
Yeah.
Kids are just different, man. All 3 of them are so different from one another. It's so interesting to watch.
Yep, they're all unique individuals. My 2 nephews, one just started school. They're 2 boys, so I said 2 nephews, so we all know what that means. But
yeah, you never know today.
Yeah, you never know. So let's see. Oldest one just started kindergarten, so that's super cool. And then Asher, the younger one, he's a couple years younger than Macklin, but dude, I get these videos all the time of them with these guitars. They're the Guitar Hero toy guitars, and they got one of my music videos up on the TV, and they're singing along, playing along with it, and they just freaking love singing and acting like they're playing guitar. And they got these karaoke microphones for Christmas where it plays the song and then you sing to it, and it kind of projects the sound or whatever. But they freaking love music, which is
you're like their hero, aren't you? I feel like I follow your family on Instagram, and I feel like you're like,
yeah, I think they look up to me a little
pretty
bit,
cool, man.
Which is I mean, probably not the smartest thing for them to do, but
no, that's cool. That's cool.
It's a cool feeling. But yeah, I love getting to go back and visit those guys.
You're from a smaller town than I am.
Yeah, Pleasant Hill's about probably 8,000 people at this point.
Yeah.
I think the sign says 6, but they don't update that. They don't update that sign very often.
What's it like? Like when you go home? Like obviously I live in St. Louis now. When you go home from Nashville, what is like the perception of Hunter Mounce, the guy who went to Nashville?
I think there are some different perceptions. Some people think that, it's changed me a lot, and you only grew that mustache because you're trying to fit in the music scene.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff like that.
Right.
And then there's other people that think it's super cool, and oh man, that think it's like way more important than it actually is, or that I'm a bigger deal than I actually am. I get some of that too.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you probably have like $500,000 in your bank account. I'm like, dude, maybe like half of a $10,000 in my bank account.
Right.
But so it's a lot of mixed perceptions probably. But then like all the people who really know me and are close to me just know that it's just really the same old me.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've grown and I've matured a lot, and I'm different than I was 6 years ago when I moved here. But it's all just been me getting outside of my comfort zone and growing as a person like that. But yeah, I mean, still.
Yeah. I think that's been like the hardest part about being back in St. Louis is like the culture. And I was just telling my wife this. She came down to Nashville with me this week, and I was telling her, like, I just miss the culture of Nashville. Like, everyone gets it. Everyone gets it. Like, hey, we're all kind of dreaming here. And, like, we know it's a long shot. And we're doing it anyway. And I feel like in St. Louis, like, I live in the suburbs of St. Louis now, and it's like people don't really quite get it. Like, there's kind of this, like, oh, that's cute. You're still doing that music thing, you know? And it's almost like if you stay in Nashville and then go home, people are like, oh, you're the real deal. But I feel like in, like, St. Louis or probably most cities, it's like if you were serious about it, you'd be in Nashville. Yeah. That's kind of the mentality. I'm like, I've never been more serious about it, I'm doing better now than I was when I lived in Nashville. But that's kind of the perspective it feels like sometimes.
I think I definitely see what you're saying, but I think there's always going to be people that still think that since you haven't quote unquote blown up yet, that it's unrealistic. Like there's still people that I talk to. They're like, hey, are you about done with that? Like, you gonna move home soon? Like, that's like, you're not really famous yet. Are you gonna?
Right.
And I'm like, then I have to go through the whole spiel about how I'm not doing it to be famous. Well, then what are you doing it for? Well, it's to have a legacy. Well, isn't a legacy being famous? Well, no. It's like I'm trying to have purpose in my life. Well, sounds like your purpose is to be famous. So like, if you're not gonna do that, why don't you move home? And I'm just like, okay, dude.
We could do this all day.
Yes, you caught on to the fact that I still don't have any idea what I'm doing. Congrats,
Right. That's what it is, man. But I think that's the thing. It's like in Nashville, everyone kind of knows. Nobody knows what we're doing.
Nobody even has to ask because they're just like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I get it. We're all crazy here. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That is what I miss the most about Nashville. It's just that culture and that understanding of like, we're all kind of in this together and we're all trying to figure it out and nobody has the answers. Yeah. It's a cool thing.
It is cool. And yeah, there's really in Nashville, there's no idea that's too crazy. Like sometimes I'll tell people back home like some ideas that I have, and they're just like,
yeah,
all right. Well, I'll tell somebody that here, and they're like, okay, cool. You want to do that like next week?
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, dude. Man. But I freaking love going back home. It's just a great balance. Getting away from the city life here a little bit. and just kind of refills my tank, so to speak, going back there.
Yeah.
So I freaking love it. I'm excited. I'm going back for homecoming this year. I'm gonna go. I got my 10-year class reunion.
Oh, how's that feel?
So it's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's gonna be pretty cool. I hope some people show up. But
I just celebrated 11 years.
yeah. Did you guys have an 11-year or did you do a 10-year?
Well, so they kind of did an 11-year because I guess with COVID it kind of delayed everything. It's like there were no reunions the last 2 years. So they did like a bunch of reunions this year that were like, it was like our 10-year reunion, but it was at the 11-year mark. I didn't go to it. It made me feel pretty old though. Like seeing that invitation, I was like, dang, it's been a long time.
Why didn't you go to it?
I think I was supposed to be out of town or something. And most of like I don't keep in touch with a lot of people from high school. It's like, I don't know, 2 or 3 and a couple guys who are several years older than me, so they wouldn't have been there. And so I kind of reached out to my couple of buddies who I still have from high school, and I was like, y'all going? And none of them were. I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to go see a bunch of people I don't really know anymore.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how I am. You're more of a people guy than I am.
Well, my perspective on it is, I'm probably going to be hanging out with a lot of people that I don't talk to anymore, or that's probably going to be the reality of it. But and this is going to sound dark, and I don't want it to sound dark, but like, dude, a lot of life can happen in 10 years, and you just don't know you don't know who's going to be around the next one. Like, I'll catch you at year 20. It's like,
maybe.
Well, dude, it may not be everybody that's able to make it can make it then, So I'm just trying to take advantage of like it may end up being 4 of us going to Pizza Hut,
Right.
But I'm just going to kind of see and if it's lame, then I'll just leave. No harm, no foul.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I look at it.
That's fair.
But I'm more excited for the football game, get to go. That'll probably be more of a class reunion than anything, is just getting to go back to the homecoming game and just kind of bump into old people. Well, bump into old people. I'm really bad about doing that. Try not to knock them over, but bumping into people I used to talk to, I guess is how I should have said it. But, yeah.
Tell the old people Hunter's coming home.
Yeah.
Watch out.
Yeah.
Watch
Brace
out,
yourselves.
Yeah. Man, dude, there is something special about those football games. Like, that was, growing up, going to Eureka High School football games was just like the highlight of the fall, man. I miss that so much.
There's nothing bigger, dude.
No, it was so cool. I want to like take my kids to those games. And I think like I haven't been to one in years. And it would probably be a little bit like, I don't know, a little bit of a letdown maybe. Of like, oh, this isn't as big as I thought it was. But man, you felt like you were just, I had the whole Eureka High School football roster memorized, and I thought those guys were superstars, It's a crazy thing.
Going to Chiefs games now feels like how it felt to go to a high school game back then.
Yeah, right. It's crazy, man.
It's like you just think, guys, dude, I remember, like, I thought Pleasant Hill football games were a huge, huge deal. And then every now and then, like probably once a year, we would go to a Lee Summit West game, which, Lee Summit.
It's like really big, isn't it?
It's big. Usually once a year they had a game where they'd play Rockhurst or somebody like that.
Yeah.
And it would be televised on ESPN. So we would go. And that, compared to Pleasant Hill, was like a whole nother level. And
it's like Super Bowl stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now when I go back and look at all the things that just seemed so much bigger than they were when it's just a crazy perception change.
Yeah, man. It's cool. We took my kids to a little town fair the other day, a couple weekends ago, and it was like I used to love going to this one when I was a kid. It's called Baldwin Days, and like the lights and the games and stuff I thought it was amazing. Like, haven't been in years, and brought my kids the other day. I was like, dang, this is like pretty small.
Yeah.
Like, and everything's just expensive. It's not that exciting, but like they're in heaven.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I could like see it through their eyes of like, this is what it felt like when I was 5 to come to this, and like, it was cool to like kind of get to be a kid again. But also, my wife and I are like, we're really gonna spend $40 on a Ferris wheel ride? Like, is it really worth it? But it just changes, man. Your perception just changes as you get older. And there's a part of me that I guess like I wish I wouldn't go back to those things, because I think I've like romanticized them in my mind, and I'm like, just want to keep it that way, you know.
Yeah.
I just want to preserve the memory, you know.
Yeah.
And going back today sometimes can mess that up.
I don't know, but it kind of makes you see the importance of doing things with your kids, and I guess not being too cool for ideas that kids have.
Yeah.
Like a kid will be like, "Hey Dad, let's go do cannonballs in the pool." And in your mind you're like, "Dude, it's not even cool to do cannonball. You're like just jumping into the water."
Yeah.
But like to the kid, it's like the coolest thing ever, and
Yeah.
like what's going on in their mind is like, "Dude, I feel like I'm jumping off a 10-foot platform and I'm doing this crazy trick," and like just that perception you have when you're a kid, it just kind of reminds you, it's like, man, we really did see things differently back then, so it's cool. We need to definitely let kids be kids.
Yeah, man, that's like been the coolest part about being a dad for me, is like being able to like see things through my kids' eyes again, and like kind of that. In some way, it's like kind of helped me like recapture some innocence in my life. Like, you know, we come down to Nashville and we're renting an Airbnb, and Nashville's like a great city. There's tons of stuff going on, right? And my daughter walks into the Airbnb, and like it's a fine little house over by 12 South, and nothing fancy, like 3-bedroom little house. And she walks in and she's like, "Oh, this is amazing!" And like the whole week, she's just been talking about like, "I want to go back to the Airbnb." Like she just thinks this house is like the coolest thing in the whole world. And it's like, man, like when did I lose that joy of like, just like a cool house in a new place just excites me. And like she's the same way when we go to a hotel somewhere. Like just being in a hotel is like just like earth shattering for her.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I like somewhere along the line I like started requiring way more than that, you know? And like it's fun to like be able to see things through a kid's eyes and be like, man, it's just simple. Like just the little things that make life exciting, you know? It's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember being like that. So I grew up in a house that there was 3 bedrooms and it was 2 bathrooms and it was single level, and it was just a really, really, really modest home. And I would go over to some of my friends' houses, you know, where they had a basement, and then there was a first level, and then there was a second level, and they had a big kitchen with an island, and you know, there was 3 or 4 bedrooms, and there was places to hide, and they had a pool and all this stuff. And dude, it just felt like a damn theme park compared to my house, you know. And that's not me diminishing at all. Like I'm glad I grew up the way I did, but just it was just something new and something different. Just made it was like a overload to my senses, and it was awesome.
Yeah, and it's like you probably look back and your house probably wasn't like that big, that fancy.
It wasn't.
But like back then, it just felt like, whoa.
The house that I'm talking about felt like a theme park. Was probably about the size of this house that we're in now.
Right.
Which just seems normal to me.
Right, it's like a normal size house, you know, and like, yeah, dude, I don't know. There's something really that I've really appreciated about being a dad, is like being able to step back a little bit and be like, I don't need as much as I think I need. Yeah. You know, like a 5-year-old can get by like a whole trip to a brand new city, like a really cool city like Nashville, and she just wants to go sit in the Airbnb and just be in a new house. I'm like, that's incredible. Like,
it is.
I wish I had that. Like, I go to a place, like I go to a new city, and I'm like, all right, here are the top 10 things we have to do while we're in town. It's like, or just like be away from home and relax a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, it's like a constant lesson. And I voice this and I articulate this to somebody, and then I go back to normal, you know? And like, I don't like take that to heart and like live that way, you know?
Yeah. Yep, I'm still the same spoiled person that takes everything for granted.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm the same way, dude.
Yeah, man, it's terrible.
It really is. Was there, whenever you were younger, was there like a goal or a dollar amount where you were like, hey, when I grow up, if I can make that dollar amount, I will be completely happy? Or, hey, when I get older, if I can do this, if I can complete this goal, I will be happy. Was there anything you had like that?
Man, I don't know. I always like, not financially, I don't think. I always like wanted to start a business. Like my dad was an entrepreneur, and as a kid, like outside of like wanting to play in the NBA, which I actually thought I could do for a little while there, and then I stopped growing at 6 foot, and I was like, well, that's done. But I always just wanted to like start a business because that's what my dad did, and I ended up starting a business and selling it last year.
Yeah. So my goal, which congrats selling your company, by
Thanks,
the way. That's great. I remember talking to you over some barbecue with Charlie Berry.
Yeah.
Or I guess it wasn't barbecue. It was that burrito place.
Baja Burrito.
That's right.
Like a year ago?
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, do not let me forget about what I was about to say, but did you ever finish that team, the home team? Did you ever finish that by yourself?
Nah.
You haven't?
Nah.
That's a good idea.
I still have it on my phone. It's going to happen one of these days.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I still think you should do that for sure.
I'm going to.
But yeah, my goal when I was younger, probably even in high school, I was like, man, if I can get to where I'm making $40,000 a year, dude, you will never have to.
Yeah.
I'll be set, and I will never ask for anything else, and, you know.
Yeah. I don't know why I remember this, but I remember in 7th grade math class, someone, I don't remember exactly the context, but somebody was like, how much would it take for you to eat a scorpion or whatever? And someone's like, $500. And my math teacher, like, I just remember him being like, I wouldn't do that for $500. And we're all like, what? Like, it's $500? He's like, yeah, like $500 doesn't sound like that much when you're an adult. Like, don't eat a scorpion for $500, whatever it was.
I will give you $500.
Like, I was like, oh man, like I thought 500 sounded like insane. You know, I was like, yeah, I would definitely eat a scorpion for $500 or whatever. I'm making that one up. I don't know why I chose that, but yeah, I remember him saying that, and I was like, huh, that's strange that an adult feels like $500 isn't that much, like not worth doing something absolutely ridiculous for, you know. And now as an adult, I'm like, yeah, don't eat a scorpion for $500, kids. Like, please, it's not worth it.
Also, remember how much money seemed like back in the day? Like, for your dad, if you said, hey, can I have some money to go to the concession stand? First thing you were thinking is they're probably going to say no. Second of all, if they did give you money, if it was anything over $3, I was freaking out.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, hold on. You mean to tell me I can go get a set of nachos from this concession stand?
Right. Yeah, man. It's crazy, dude. And that's like, you know, when I took my kids to this little fair thing the other day, I was like, it is absurd to spend the money to pop a bunch of balloons to get them some little stuffed animal that I could buy on orientaltrading.com for 20 cents. But it's like the experience. So, like, I dropped $20 on that. I'm like, I can afford to drop $20 on it.
Yeah.
And to them, they're like, Dad is so kind. And, like, he's, like, making this experience great for us. And it's like, I try to, like, just come down to their level and, like see it that way. Because, like, I remember, like, when my dad would be like, here, buddy, $20 for games. I'd be like, what, really? Like, I get to do that? You know? And it's like, I want to be that kind of dad, you know? Like, I want my kids to have those experiences that I got to have.
Yeah. That's great. What was your favorite place to go as a kid?
I always loved Chuck E. Cheese.
Dude, I was about to say that. Yeah.
That's pretty hard to beat that as a kid. I mean, looking back, like, again, it's one of those things where I'm like, this place is kind of nasty. Like,
those robots are fucking creepy, dude.
Really creepy. Like, yeah, I hope they're not doing that anymore. There's still a Chuck E. Cheese. The one I went to growing up is still there. I don't know if they still do the robot shows or not. I've not taken my kids to Chuck E. Cheese yet, but that was always a good time. Like, if someone had a birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese, I was like, yeah, that's cool. I'm going to that one, you know. And then Sky Zone came along. I don't know if y'all have those.
We didn't have it growing up, but
Sky Zone came along when I was like probably in 5th or 6th grade, and then people started doing their birthday parties there, and Sky Zone became a cool spot. I threw my back out at Sky Zone a couple months ago, and I realized I'm too old to be jumping on trampolines.
Yeah.
And it's like one of those. It's like the 10-year union thing. You're like, dang, am I really that old? And second, I took my daughter to a birthday party at Sky Zone. Second bounce, my back just. I was like,
really?
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's still kind of hurting from it, honestly. I went to a chiropractor for a couple weeks there, and still wake up pretty tight. And I was like, all right, I guess I'm not a trampoline guy anymore.
Dude, so I'm scared to death to do. Have you ever done a backflip?
No.
I'm scared to death.
I'm not coordinated enough for that.
I'll do a front flip because I can see where I'm going.
Yeah.
But anything like this where I'm kind of blind and I can't see, I'm out. I've never done it off the diving board even.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I legitimately don't think I could turn my body in that way. I used to do front flips on trampolines and off diving boards. After my most recent trampoline experience, just jumping, throwing out my back, I'm like, I shouldn't be flipping. But I always I think I've seen a video of Brantley Gilbert or Frankie Ballard.
Brantley Gilbert jumps off of that.
Off the monitor thing?
Huge rise thing up where the drum rise.
Yeah.
He'll do a backflip off of that during kicking in the sticks.
Man, that's so cool. And there was like a period a couple years ago where I was like, I'm going to learn to do that. And then I watched a couple videos on how to do a backflip. I was like, I'm never going to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
It'd be a really bad idea for me. No one wants to see me break my neck in the middle of a show, And that's
he's gonna do
almost certainly what would happen.
He's gonna.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like show's over.
Do we get our money back?
Yeah, like
he only played 2 songs.
Bring the house lights on, like we're done here.
Yeah.
I just don't think I could do it, and it does scare me. Like, I don't know. I don't know, man.
You know, I try not to look back. I'm not going that way. You know.
Yeah.
Just keep my eyes forward.
Yeah.
That whole.
That's why you don't do backflips.
Exactly.
It's more philosophical.
Yeah. The couch to backflip. The couch to backflip program that I looked up on the internet. I think I'm gonna bail on it. I'm not gonna do it.
Is that a thing?
You know, like they got couch to 5K, the couch to backflip thing. I'm probably not gonna do that. No, that's probably not a thing.
You're doing the 5K thing though.
Yeah, man.
100 milers.
Yeah, that was cool. I did that in July.
Man, well, how many have you done?
That was my third one.
In those 3 races, you've run more miles than I've run in my entire adult life.
I don't know if
I know.
If you count walking, all the steps you've walked, that's not true. Maybe you actually running, yeah.
What, do you run the whole time?
The first 2 years, no. This year, I ran everything that was runnable. So it's through the woods, it's trail, it's hike. It's basically 100 miles of hiking trails. So the stuff that is flat or downhill or slightly inclined, yes, I will run. I ran all that this year, but stuff that was like straight up rocks and all that, you can't. I'm not good enough to run those, so I didn't run those.
I remember a couple years ago, I got into running for a minute, and I actually did enjoy it quite a bit. But I was like, I had gotten pretty far out of shape, and I was like, I need to get back in shape here. So I started running like a 5K a day for like all of January of 2021. I think I posted something about it on Instagram, and you like texted me like, hey man, like any interest in running this 100-miler with me in Ohio in March or whatever? I was like, no, absolutely not. Like I'm not that kind of runner yet.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever will be. But
Yeah.
I was like, I told Jenna that, and she's like, "Oh, he doesn't know. Like, you don't run. I was like, "Yeah, I'm just like trying to get my legs back under me." He's like a real runner, and
there's
I can't do
that childlike innocence we were talking about. That's me, dude.
Yeah, dude. You're just like, "Hey, a runner. Let's go do this."
You did 3. You ready to do 100?
Yeah, it's
Hell
like
yeah.
you've done 3 twice this week. Like 100 in 2 months. Let's go.
I'm like, all you had. I mean, if you think about it, all you got to do is about 30 more of those, and you would have been 90.
In what? 24 hours? 36.
You get 30 hours to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't think I ran 100 miles. No, I mean I did a 5K every day for the month of January.
Yeah.
And I didn't even run 100 miles a whole month. And doing
You're
that.
close. Because
90.
30, yeah, 90. I mean,
But brother, I'm doing it in a whole month with 24 hours between. You're doing it in 30 hours total. It's a different thing.
Yeah.
It's a different ball game, man.
it's all, dude. It's all just kind of. It's another one of those things that you think whenever you do it that it would be just like the greatest feeling in the world, and I'll forever be. I won't ever need to do any other fitness goals, and I've reached a peak. But it's just like everything else. But once you do it, you're like, oh, that wasn't really as big of a deal as I thought it would be.
So what's next?
Well, that's why I've done 2 more just to make sure it wasn't a fluke. I was like, man, what if I just got lucky that first time and I just had like the perfect day, everything was going right, and that's why I was able to complete it. So then I ran it a second time, and I was like, okay, it wasn't a fluke because I did it again. I did it an hour faster. And then this year I did it 3 hours faster, so I've gotten faster by like 4 hours. But
That's significant. When you're talking about only 30 hours, that's pretty significant.
yeah, I did it in 25:39 this year.
That's
so
awesome, man.
that was cool.
That's really cool.
But yeah, man, I mean, that was something I started doing 5 years ago. I'd never ran before, and just started doing that 5 years ago, and just kind of turned into something kind of escalated,
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people, like all the people who I know that run, like, they say that's like where they go to, like, just get away and, like, be alone with their thoughts and stuff.
Yeah.
When I was running last year, I experienced that. I was like, I would go at night, and it was cold. It was like January. I'd get the kids to bed, and then I'd go run. And it was like really nice to end the day that way.
Yes.
Like I like running in the cold way better than like running in the hot.
Awesome.
Like it was just like very like peaceful. Like no one's out. It's like dark by 5 o'clock.
Did you ever run in the snow?
No, we didn't really get much snow that month that I was running consistently like that.
Yeah.
And then I kind of, after I did the 5K a day thing, it was like I tapered off and was just kind of running here and there.
Yeah.
But no, I never ran through the snow. But it was like just really quiet and stuff, and I'd put in some music and just kind of listen. And
yeah, there's something cool. There's something cool about being out there alone and nobody.
Yeah. It was like kind of eerie at some points.
It is.
But like generally speaking, like I was running through suburban St. Louis, like pretty safe area. And it was like, yeah, it was just cool like to stop sometimes, like the time I shoot and be like, oh, there's nobody around.
Yeah.
And it feels like the middle of the night and it's like 8:30, you know.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Hell yeah. Well, man, what else you got going on? You got any cool shows coming up?
Going down to Columbia, Missouri to open for Frankie Ballard
Blue Note?
next week. No, it's at this place called My House, which is where we opened for Kip a couple weeks ago, and they were really good to us. And Frankie, like, he hasn't put out music in a while, but I loved his stuff, man. Like, I think the last thing he put out was like 2016, and that was like when I was, like I said, just moved back to St. Louis at that point, and like it was really, it was like cool to hear. Like, I would consider him more like heartland American rock than I would like country, and that's kind of where I fit. So it was like really cool to like listen to his stuff. Be like, okay, there's a place for this in the market, and I really like his stuff. So I'm looking forward to that one. And then we're playing Tulsa, Oklahoma. I've never been to Oklahoma.
Is that just you guys?
The Hard Rock, yeah, it's like a 2-hour thing at the Hard Rock Casino in Tulsa. And then album release show is in St. Louis on November 12th.
November 12th. Okay.
Come on up. Staples is coming, I think.
He literally texted me, and I hate when people say literally before anything, so I don't know why I just did that, but he texted me about that.
Yeah.
And he said, "Hey, it's in November. Not sure about the date. So now that I know, I'm actually going to put it in my phone right now."
November 12th, dude. Come up. It's
Hell yeah.
Gonna be fun. We're renting out this like 500 person theater, and it's like a beautiful place.
What's it called?
The Kirkwood Performing Arts Center.
Woo.
And it's like it's really pretty, and it's really a cool place, and they've been really good to work with. But it's 500 tickets, which will be, if we can sell that out, that will be by far the most we've ever sold in St. Louis. So
you gonna put in a good effort to try to sell it out?
Working like crazy to sell it out, man. Yeah, I think it'd be really beneficial if we could sell out a 500 person room in St. Louis.
Oh gosh.
To be able to go to the other places in St. Louis and say,
no doubt,
we can put butts in seats. You know, that's kind of what booking comes down to. You know.
Heck yeah! All right,
yeah,
I got it on the calendar. I'll be there.
Come on.
That's gonna be great.
Up, yeah.
I was gonna ask you, do you think Frankie Ballard missed a great opportunity for the stage name Frankie Ballad? That would have been a cool stage name, dude.
Frankie Ballard's a cool name, though.
It is.
Frankie Ballard's pretty cool, though. I like him, man. I like his stuff a lot. He's got that real Seeger influence, and it's stuff I grew up on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I'm excited to open that one up. I'll be interested to see like what that crowd looks like.
Yeah.
He hasn't released music. Columbia's a college town, so these kids, I mean the seniors at Mizzou, were what? It was 6 years ago. They were 12 or 13 the last time he released music.
Yeah, listening to Sunshine and Whiskey at 12 years old, dude.
Yeah, right? Hell of a life. Like, there were some great songs in that era, but, like, I don't know if they were into that. So I'll be interested to see what this crowd looks like. But I'm excited to play with him. He's great.
It is cool, and it is kind of a mystery what that'll look like.
Yeah.
I think he's still a pretty big session player in town.
I think so. I mean, he can rip, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like, his guitar chops.
He played on Alec Davis's stuff.
Yeah, I think I knew that. Yeah. I think Alec mentioned that once. Yeah, Frankie, he's super talented, and they seems like great people. But I'm just interested to see what his crowd looks like in a college town like Mizzou or like Columbia, because that town is mostly Mizzou, you know.
Yeah.
But we did the Kip thing there, and they packed it out pretty good. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man, it'll be good.
Well, dude, I'm excited for you.
Thanks, brother.
Hey, so it is 1:12, which means you're probably wanting to get on the road here pretty soon. Hey, would you mind playing a song for us before you get out of here?
You got a
Is
guitar?
that cool? I got one right behind me, yeah.
I could try. My voice is a little tired, but...
Well, dude, you don't have to if you don't want to.
I'll see what I can do. I'll do it, and if it sounds like shit, you just don't put it on your podcast.
Perfect. We're not going to have to worry about that. You want strap or no strap?
I don't need a strap.
Okay.
But, where are my keys? You got a pick over there, too?
Yes, sir. And it may need tuned up. I'm going to turn it on just because I know how this thing is.
All right.
Hopefully there's no mice in the sound hole like last time.
Did that happen to you?
No, it didn't. What you got? What do you have one in mind you want to do?
I'm going to try one that has not come out yet. This is I'm going to do it a half step down, actually, so that...
Then your voice ain't got to strain so bad.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, so this is a one that's coming out later in September.
Okay.
It's about my first car. It was a 2007 Jeep Wrangler.
Nice.
And my plan with it was like, I love that Jeep very much, and my plan was to keep it forever. Like we had, there you go. We had started talking about having a family, and so I was like, okay, well I can't have car seats in a Jeep Wrangler, you know. So like my thought was like, okay, I'll get a truck and I'll just keep the Wrangler. And so like, as I started looking at trucks, like literally the day I started looking at trucks for the first time, I got hit by a semi and the Wrangler got totaled. I walked away with just like a scratch on my knuckle, but the Wrangler, keeping the Wrangler forever, went to bust. And so I got thinking about that. I was like, there's a song in there about like, you know, something you keep as kind of like an anchor in your past. And so I wrote the song about my Jeep, but it's not really about my Jeep. It's just about being nostalgic.
Hell yeah.
It's called Wrangler. It's coming out in September.
Wrangler coming out end of September. Hey, and by the way, you don't have to, but if you want to adjust that mic, if it sounds better kind of in the middle or just whatever. Just whatever.
It'd be worth a couple grand if I cleaned it up. A little extra cash would make rent for a couple months. But I'm working doubles for overtime pay, just taking up space sitting there in the driveway. I know it sounds crazy, 'cause it don't look like much. Glory days need Letterman jackets, bad tattoos prove heartbreak happened, yearbook pictures and old ball caps, but tickets to a time that you can't get back. Some stores can't be told with just pen and paper, so I'm keeping the Wrangler. Stuck in the dash, there's a First Love burnt CD. And cigarette burns from my buddies in the shotgun seat. Homecoming night, flask hidden in the glove box. Only I know why there's a rip in the ragtop. Started out taking me from A to B. Man, nobody's taking it away from me. 'Cause glory days need Letterman jackets, bad tattoos prove heartbreak happened, yearbook pictures and old ball caps, but tickets to a time that you can't get back. And some stores can't be told with just pen and paper, so I'm keeping the Wrangler. Yeah, I'm keeping the Wrangler. Under those tires, through the dust in the mirror, there's a road to back then I can still see clear. Glory days need Letterman jackets, bad tattoos prove heartbreak happened, yearbook pictures, no ball caps, tickets to a time that you can't get back. And some stores can't be told with just pen and paper, so I'm keeping the Wrangler. Yeah, I'm keeping the Wrangler.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, buddy.
I love that, man.
Thanks, dude.
Hell yeah.
It'll be out soon.
September, what'd you say?
30th. So maybe after this. I don't know.
September 30th, yeah. It
Either
should be
way,
after this.
Coming out September 30th.
Hell yeah.
Thanks, dude.
Well, dude, I'm going to do one real quick if that's cool.
Yeah, buddy. Hit me. What you got?
Let's see, I had a song kind kind of take off a little clip I uploaded to the internet the other day. This wacky song me and my buddy Nick wrote, Nick DeLeo, about a girl who drank us under the table.
All right.
Yep, I'm gonna do this one real quick. It goes like this. Yeah, I met a woman about 6'7". She caught my eye at the 7-Eleven, buying Jack Link's jerky and a carton of Marlboro Reds. The anchor tattoo on her sunburned shoulder wasn't close to my age. She was quite a bit older, with arms like a hammer and a few teeth short of a set. Against my better judgment, I didn't go home, 'cause you know I can't spend Friday night alone. We went downtown all around painting it red, split a fifth of Black Label straight to the head. I'd tell you how I got here if I was able, but the reason I'm under this table, she drank me here. I woke up next morning with bloodshot eyes, needed hair of a dog just to stay alive. Didn't know what hit me till I saw her feet hanging off of that bed. She shoved me in the shower, hollered, get cleaned up. Next thing I knew, she fixed me a cup. It was a stiff concoction that could get the dead walking again. Against my better judgment, I didn't go home, 'cause you know I can't spend Saturday night alone. We went downtown, drank down every last keg, swear to everything she had a hollow leg. She was putting down booze like no man I'd ever seen. We were drinking out of pitchers, climbing them walls, had to puke and rally in the bathroom stall. Hell, the mechanical bull was even crying, woman, get off me. I'll tell you how I got here if I was able. I think the reason I'm under this table, she drank me here. Yeah, our last stop, we met a couple of fellas, took their money and pool, and they got a little jealous. One man came at me with a knife in his hand. She threw him through the door and we were gone like the wind. When downtown closed down every last bar, some things have got a way of going way too far. I'll tell you how I got here if I was able, but the reason I'm under this table is 'cause she drank me here. Yeah, the reason I'm under this table is 'cause she drank me here.
Yeah, buddy.
That's it, dude. It's probably one of the stupider ones I've ever done.
I love it, man. It's so good.
Yeah.
Is it a true story?
Partly. It's mostly false. Facebook fact checkers would flag it as mostly false.
They flag most things as false.
Dude, the best thing. This is slightly inappropriate, so you can tune out of this part if you want. But dude, the best comment on TikTok when the song kind of got some traction, but just a little clip of it. Somebody said, "Dude, 6'7", you probably had to go up on her." I was like, dude.
It's pretty tall.
It is.
It's a big girl.
Well, so me and Nick, the day we wrote that, we're like, listen, dude, this idea, just whatever we think of, just put it on the paper and just leave it. So, like, you know, most of the time when you're writing a song, you have a line and you're like, okay, well, hold on. Let's think. Let's think. With every line, he's like, the first line, he's like, hey, I met a girl about 6'7". I was like, cool, man, let's keep it. And then I was like, caught my eye at the 7-Eleven. He's like, cool, keep it. And that's how the whole song happened in like 30 minutes, because we were just like, yep.
That's hilarious.
And we were like, it's never going to do anything anyway, so who really cares? And then I ended up listening to the work tape back probably a month later, and I was like, dude, I actually, for some reason, like that. He's like, there's no way you're going to record that. And I was like, I think I am.
Watch me.
So it's not the song that's about to come out, but it'll be the song after that.
It's great, dude. You don't hear a lot of those like kind of goofy, like funny country songs anymore. Like there's a lot of that like Toby Keith, Brad Paisley stuff. You don't hear that as much anymore.
Well, yeah, and like Joe Diffie, Sammy Kershaw, a lot lot of that stuff was like really far fetched. Like Queen of My Double Wide Trailer clearly was probably not a real true story. John Deere Green about like that wasn't real probably.
Yeah.
High maintenance woman don't want no maintenance man. That like all the Brad Paisley stuff that was.
Yeah, dude, it's good.
So yeah,
I like it, man.
Well, I don't know.
That's gonna be the one that blows up for you.
Well, we'll see, man. At this point, I just like putting out music and let them do what they do. You know,
I never bother like trying to guess like, is this the one that's gonna do anything? Every time I guess like, I feel like this one's gonna do well. Like that one completely falls flat. The next one will be like, I don't get this one as much. Then it gets on like some big playlist or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I'm done guessing.
Yeah, like Runaway Heart. Is that still your biggest one?
It's like the most streams. Yeah.
Okay, and like. Was there any part of you that was like, man, this might be a little bit too quiet and somber and slow?
It's too lyrical.
Yeah, too lyrical.
Like it's like not like commercial viability. It's not there for Runaway Heart. But like I think what happens, I got on some playlists that like play in restaurants. Like I don't think I told you this. I have a buddy who from college who I haven't talked to in a while, and like earlier this year I think it was, he texted me and was like, dude, I just heard your song Runaway Heart at a coffee shop in Costa Rica or Guatemala or something. He's like, I was like sitting here and I was like, this really sounds like Matt. He's like, I Shazammed it and like, sure enough, it was you. And so like, I think that's where those streams are coming from. It got on some playlist that goes out to restaurants and coffee shops and stuff. But yeah, it's the most streamed one, and I would have never guessed that
That's great.
to be. Yeah.
That's why you just got to put stuff out there.
Just put it out, man. If you believe in it, just put it out there, you know.
Well, bud, I really, really, really appreciate you coming on today. I'm glad we got to talk. I'm excited to do it again sometime.
Yeah, buddy.
I always tell people, once this thing gets some more traction, I look forward to having you on again and kind of seeing how much better it does once I kind of get this thing going. But, this has been episode 13, guys. Hey, Matt, real quick before we shut it off, where can they find you? You got a website? You got Instagram, any of that stuff?
Yeah, Instagram, social media, everywhere at Matt Jordan Music, and online at mattjordansongwriter.com. Come catch a show, stream the new music when it comes out. A lot coming for y'all this year.
Yeah. Hey, and if you guys want to hang out with me in November, and especially if you want to hang out with Matt in November, come to the damn album release party in St. Louis. What was the name of the place again?
Kirkwood Performing Arts Center. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, the K-Pack. That's what I'm going to call it.
That's what they call it.
Is it?
That's what they call it.
Okay. Well,
that's you, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, trying to get the lingo. But, yeah, guys, this has been episode 13 of the Folks Like Us podcast. And I guess I'll tell you to hit the subscribe, the notification bell, and there's one other thing I can't remember right now. But whatever, you guys know. But I'll see you guys on the next one, man. I really appreciate you guys.
Thanks, my dude.
Yeah, man.